Okay. Huh. Why can't I hear anything? Oh, you guys are muted. Is Alan speaking?
Yo, can you hear me? Testing. 1, 2. Can you hear me, Shane? Can any of the panel lads hear me? Pat, Taylor, aloha.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool.
Oh, now it's faint.
The volume should be good. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Hear you good.
Nice, nice. All right, here we go.
Well, we got the whole Three Musketeers trio going on here. Got Space Audits and Pierre and Taylor. How's it going?
Hola.
Oh, welcome. Foursome sometimes even too.
Right. It was pointed out. It was predicted. There was Taylor showed up somewhere, and it was predicted by one of the Globers. Okay, then Space Audit's is going to show up. Then Saint Pierre is going to show up, and they did.
Huh.
Taylor finds the room, and then.
Well, we started this room, so welcome to our space, sir. How is your evening going?
Oh, going good.
Wonderful.
I don't know. A circumpolar orbit would drift westward.
Well, in any case, I think you could agree that it would go around the ball and come back up the other side.
Right, but it would drift westward as the Earth rotates. But yeah, circumpolar orbits. Okay. What about them?
Well, specifically, have you ever seen one?
I mean, I have looked up in the sky and I've seen satellites going from north to south and south to north. So, have I seen one mapped out? Not. I don't know. Maybe, but yeah, I've seen satellites going. I've seen polar satellites. Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask specifically is because the coordinate system that they're all plotted to can be projected over different things, right? So we have the globe projection, we have an equirectangular, we have a azimuthal equidistant projection. With these latitude, longitude lines, these are all representing the same thing. So we can take this line, and you're echoing a little bit. We could take this line here and transpose it on different projections, and it'll all represent the same thing equivalently. So anyway, when we take our circumpolar orbit, we have what it would look like under different projections. And then we took all the publicly available circumpolar orbits that are available, and we transformed them to the corresponding AE projection to see how they would look. So if they are truly going down the side of the ball and then coming back up around the other side and back down again, their transformation should look like this. It should be a line like this. We're going up the ball, going back down the ball, and then you're coming up around the other side. So this is what they should look like under transformation.
I argue they would look a little differently. They would drift westward.
Well, you're talking about like geographic position. We're talking about like a snapshot of where the Earth would be, and then this would be its orbit going over it, irrespective of the westward drift. You're saying,
Right. Well, the surface of the Earth is moving east underneath the satellite as it
right?
orbits.
But you're bringing up an irrelevant point, though, to try and argue it.
I'm just saying you're showing a map saying this is what it should look like, and I'm being a little bringing up maybe a moot point, but
super relevant
westward.
Go find one that's real that does that. Then
hold on. Super irrelevant. You could take plane routes, do the same thing. They're all showing the same thing. Nobody's showing orbits based off of Earth rotating underneath anything. That's not a real thing. It's like, that's why it's irrelevant. So this orbital path here, right, irrespective of rotation, represents the same thing. So you're going around the ball, you're coming up on the other side, irrespective of rotation. Now, when we take the publicly available snapshot or equirectangular projections that are given to us in all cases, they form giant figure eights over the sky. They never make the straight lines that they would correspond if it's going up and around the ball.
They move westward, just like I said. That is what I just freaking said.
1 second. Moving westward doesn't create this.
Yeah, sure it does. Sure it does.
No, buddy.
Absolutely.
Then all plane routes would do this. It's not like, listen, the argument you're making isn't related. The change in the position of the Earth doesn't change the trajectory this is plotted under. No.
That is exactly what's happening.
Nope.
You've got just
buddy, it's a fixed route. It's a plotted route. This has nothing to do with the Earth rotating. That's why I'm trying to tell you it's irrelevant.
The argument is that they don't do north, south, right? And you're saying
the satellite orbits around the Earth, and the Earth turns underneath the satellite. You add those together, and you get that flowery pattern.
The flowery pattern is not created from the rotation of the Earth.
Like just what you said. You showed the first three slides. You showed the first three slides and said, this is what a circumpolar orbit looks like. And I said, no, that's not. It would move westward. Then you show the next slide and it's, oh, look, there's a curve to it because Earth rotates, just like I said. Thank you.
If this stream already started and you're being this emotional, it's going to be a rough ride.
I'm not emotional. I'm adamant. But I wouldn't say that I'm all that emotional. I'm, just like this is pretty obvious. You're throwing me softballs, and I just swung for the fences here. Like this is exactly.
All right. Well,
exactly what I predicted. You showed me the picture that I was looking for.
No. The argument, dude, right, is that there's no north-south circumpolar route, no matter what the navigation is, whether it's a plane, a satellite, a person, a one-eyed girl who's 18 who did it across the Antarctica. None of that's happened, right? And the routes that exist are what we're showing you. If we keep going, we'll have the plane, we'll have some of the so-called, whatever they do circumpolar navigation, all they do is a big circle. They go down, they come back around. They go up, they come back around. Makes complete sense. So what we're saying, what the argument is, not that it doesn't drift slightly left due to, stellar rotation or Earth rotation. It's that there's no route that exists that goes down and south and pops up back north. Doesn't exist, and that's what we're showing you. So if you want to refute that, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, are you saying that circumpolar navigation has never happened?
Yes.
No, it's never happened.
Never once.
It's never happened.
Okay, so what is one more orbit? Why don't you Google one more orbit real quick?
We're looking at the routes right now for one more orb.
Yeah. Famously didn't do anything.
Yeah, and then the guy blamed the marketing team for putting out like a not correct projection of their quote unquote real route. No one's ever seen the quote unquote real route, according to them.
No one has crossed the South Pole around the bottom and come up the other side. That is the point. If you have proof of that, that is what we're looking for, because nobody can show that.
Yeah. If they did, this circle here would look like a straight line going across it, like we showed earlier.
Like we showed in the very beginning.
So none of the trajectories plotted out for satellites show the correct corresponding transformation. Saying that the Earth rotating under it to complete the loop there, that's not what does that. This is a transformation of like a snapshot of a circle drawn on a spherical coordinate system that's not moving. So this doesn't represent ball rotate, guys. You need to separate that from your minds. You're creating a straw man of the argument to try and reconcile the two. I see you in the chat, Nards. Like you're not making the proper argument to substantiate this. The deviation in path asserted isn't going to affect the plotted out trajectory that's going to remain invariant under transformation. That doesn't track, right? They're not plotting the trajectory based on where ball rotate position. Like that's not how that works, dude.
If you want to know where a satellite is going to be, you're going to factor in rotation of the Earth.
Well, if you want to know, you'll have to understand the ECI frame of reference, the ECEF coordinate system with which it's based, the sidereal rotation, which they make adjustments for within the ECI frame, the range measurement equation, the relationship of C plus V when they're doing, distance-based equations when they're trying to determine where and when how something will be. The distance is always ratioed against the so-called speed of light, which isn't constant in either direction. So if you want to get into it, we'd have to know all of that, right? But what we're talking about is the route in orbit. So you want to use satellite, you can use a ship, you want to use a plane. No one has ever plotted the north-south circumnavigation route that we started with. No one goes down south and pops up back north like they would have to on the globe. Every single one goes down and does a loop.
Okay, guys, so what about the 24-hour sun video that they have in Antarctica? What do you think about that?
I think that a celestial body above the horizon doesn't prove the shape of the Earth, and it can tell you celestial bodies above the horizon can tell you what the shape of the Earth isn't, but not what it is. And certain models and conceptualizations of the flat Earth that a 24-hour sun wouldn't work with, and in other conceptualizations, it's not an issue.
Okay, so what are the thoughts of what the Earth is sitting on?
Yeah, well, we live in a realm, man. And in the north, there's a northern star field. In the south, there's a southern star field that diverges. If you're at the equator and you look up, you see the two divergent star fields. On the ball, they say that's due to perspective and you're rotating. On a flat Earth, we're saying that's just due to perspective. Like we say, everything in the sky pretty much is just due to perspective. When you get into interferometry, there's only a singular rotation that's measured. In the north, I think you see the sun arc, and then when you're in the south, you see the sun and arc around you, and all of that corresponds to the GP of the sun, which is doing a circle in the tropics, and to have that relationship where you always remain the center of creation and the sun goes around you. That's why it antarcs when you're in the south to complete that relationship. I think it's just an optical thing.
But it doesn't explain the current flat Earth model that we have.
The current flat Earth model that we have, if you go to adl.place and you click on Shane's model, you'll see an observer with an azimuthal grid of vision standing in the corresponding latitude with the sun wrapping around his head. It's just an optical effect that happens in your dome of vision that's just latitude dependent as you get further away from the equator. Like do I have a proposed mechanism for the relationship that divides the equator? Like what makes it special for the star fields to diverge? Like what's the mechanism for that? I have no idea, but mechanistically how we perceive it, this is my understanding of it, that it's just an optical effect when you cross the equator.
So what about old cultures that show you the tree of life on the flat rim with the snake biting its tail? Why is the snake that is biting its tail at the equator? And what is the significance of the snake that bites its tail?
Couldn't tell you.
The Ouroboros, the circle, is that what you're talking about?
That is a cycle that continues over and over again, that we are in a continuous cycle loop. It circles.
Yeah.
The sun and the moon circle above us.
Based on the elevation of the sun and your latitude will depend on whether or not it wraps around you at the corresponding latitude or not.
My thing is, the flat Earth model does not explain the realm. So saying we're in a realm and it's due to perspective doesn't explain it. Because think about it. If we're in a realm, what's the realm sitting on? What's beneath the realm?
None of those questions negate any of my stance.
I didn't get that.
None of those questions are relevant.
It is relevant because if you are saying it's not a globe and it's not floating and it's flat and it's stationary, what is it on?
Well, those get into like more speculative
questions.
those get into more speculative cosmological answers. Whereas before we were talking like mechanistically how we perceive our where we're at. What you're asking for would be like I would have to have like external knowledge of the system. That's not
Well, that's the same thing. What you're talking about is still external knowledge of the system. You
Yeah.
can't have one.
The globe model's only hasn't even gone over 8 miles deep, so the globe model has no idea.
And that's exactly my point. The flat model has
We can know a lot more than we've drilled. We have seismic data that shows us a lot more about the world than we could possibly learn by drilling.
Don't say we, because you've never.
But
done
when
it.
we did drill down those 8 miles, they were wrong almost every step of the way.
Yeah.
So what they think they know through seismic stuff, that gave them the wrong prediction in those 8 miles they drove down. So you can't say, oh, we know, because when they started drilling, they misguessed as they went down. And when they got down, they were just before 8 miles, and the ground was like melted plastic. It was so gooey. It was just melting drill tips. So no, we don't know what's down there. We are all here in this same realm. And what we're telling you is your perspective that it's a globe is not what we have realized. A lot of us have woken up to the reality of where we are, that it's not what they told us.
And it's not what we think either.
A lot of us don't know, but we don't have to know. But there's a lot of things we do know. And we do know that when satellites orbit, nothing, even ships, planes, nothing orbits circumpolarly around the south. Nothing has gone around the South Pole and popped up on the other side. Nothing ever has.
Yeah,
So that's kind of what we're talking about. Show us a ship. Show us an airplane. Show us a satellite.
You don't go from an island next to Madagascar around to New Zealand on the Gleason map. No way. No fucking way.
Yes, sir, you do. You make a circle. It's
Yo.
just a big looping circle. We can show you a picture of it if you'd like.
Yeah, we showed you
Look
all
right
the
here.
we showed you all the terrestrial navigation that is publicly available. Not a single one of them does the corresponding transformation that shows a north-south circumnavigation, and we also showed you the satellite ones.
Dude, I went to go look for any one of the reported ones. That's why I found the One More Orbit. I found all of the so-called claimed circumpolar flights, navigation missions. I looked them all up, and then I found their corresponding routes, and then I transformed them to the map projection to show that it doesn't actually do what we said it would. So, like, if you have another one, we'll add it to the list.
Okay, so there are 3 places that we don't really go. We are leaving out the Bermuda Triangle.
No,
So they don't go over
listen.
it.
Yeah,
What are you talking about, bro?
yeah, you're kind of just saying like nonsense stuff.
Really though, what goes over the Bermuda Triangle?
What? What are you talking about, dude?
Not
I'm
relevant.
asking you.
No, it's guys.
It's not really relevant to the
What
topic
side
we
are you
had
on, bro?
tonight.
The confused side.
Who's hot micing continuously? Is that
It's-
you, Pro?
Yeah, your boy
Oh,
Pro.
sorry, I thought I was muted.
You're good. You're good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, check like look into it, see if you can find us some, because we've asked around. I put out a Twitter post a couple of months ago. We got some pretty good traction. Some people brought some new stuff to us, but none of it like one more orbit stuff like that. None of it turned out to be in the favor of an actual north-south circumpolar route.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Like we haven't found any ones that go north to south?
Nope.
No, I
Never
Taylor.
once.
You're kidding.
No, we even had people in Twitter like repeat the same stuff and like repost the same things that were already shown not to be. Like nobody had anything except for like three routes.
I even went to Ruhif and the Glober servers, and they all just gave me the same bullshit that's on Flat.ws on it. So
I came up here so confident tonight that I was willing to stake it all on my boy Prol here. That he wouldn't have anything for it.
What do you know?
Well, who is Prold? How did you find us? You were in here before I was.
Yeah, he made it.
I was like, how did you get in here?
He pulled up quick, dog.
Yeah.
He must get the noties.
Well,
He
welcome.
follows Taylor.
I don't know.
Oh.
Space audits.
Oh, were you the one talking about how you figured out our secret plan? When you're like,
Yes.
Taylor shows up.
We used Taylor as
Could you
bait.
go through it again? I think I missed it.
Do you guys want to hear something crazy about abiogenesis?
Can we?
Yeah.
Can we please?
Taylor,
Whose sigh of excitement was that? Cat or Taylor? I couldn't tell.
both. Taylor, can you tell us
That was
real quick about how they pre-order different chemical combinations and then mix them together and then say that they created them spontaneously with no intervention?
Absolutely. I have a whole presentation on it. But basically, they're doing these chemical reactions and getting a pile of tar, maybe a few left and right-handed amino acids, which wouldn't equal a protein anyway. And then they're basically saying, yeah, we can form life. That's their best proof for life starting from non-life, the Miller-Urey experiment. And it's all highly controlled environments. Everything's highly specific, highly pure compounds they're putting into these things. They're not just throwing in some dirt and saying, voila.
If they even created life, it would still be intelligent design.
That's exactly right, but they actually can't do it.
How do you feel about life coming from nothing, Pro?
Yeah, it seems the most sensible explanation.
How so?
How
Where
so?
Yeah, like can you tell me where we get informational hierarchy and integrated systems encoded into some form of storage that's usable?
It's an emergent property of evolution.
Designer?
Mount Rushmore evolved. I think it's here.
Wait.
Wait.
So where hierarchy and integrated systems at? That's not by an intelligent designer, Pro?
Yeah, it is. So you're talking information, like as in DNA. You're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. So or the way information is exchanged from one organism to its offspring, or from organism to another organism within the same population.
No, I'm talking about how DNA within itself has circuits encoded into it. And
Circuits encoded into it? What do you mean by circuits encoded into it?
Yeah, like for example, gene regulation, right? There's a hierarchy of information into our DNA code.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
That they have information that will triumph other information, and if we need certain proteins, there's basically some feedback loop that will happen.
Yeah.
And there's circuits in our biological cell, like the metabolism, the citric acid cycle. And they wouldn't function without other things. The genetic code, that has informational hierarchy and circuitry too, because you have the DNA code, you got the proteins. The proteins are giving feedback to DNA to get more, but the DNA or the proteins within themselves would never form on their own because they need each other. The proteins get their code from the DNA, but the DNA is assembled by proteins. So
it all started out with RNA.
Yeah, tell me how that worked.
So RNA, and we can see today, organisms still have enzymes that are built out of RNA, and that's one of the reasons why we believe that RNA was the first primary molecule of life.
Right.
So, for example, ribosomes are the enzymes that transcribe RNA into proteins, and it is an enzyme made up of ribonucleic acid.
Yep. Okay, so assuming that we have these nucleotides that somehow formed on prebiotic Earth and formed into our RNA, giving you all of that, first of all, where did it get its code and information from? And second of all, then what? And third of all, if it does form a ribozyme, how is it going to self-replicate? Because it needs to be double-stranded to be a ribozyme, but to get its code, it would have to unzip and become single-stranded.
Even the simplest bacterial
So I don't know a whole lot of the specifics of it.
Excuse me. The ribosome, even the most simplest one, a bacterial ribosome, is two very long, complex strands of RNA, and it requires over 50 preformed proteins to function properly. If any of them are missing, it does not function.
He's talking about a ribozyme, I think. I think he's talking about a ribozyme.
Given them the benefit of the doubt. But even if we did have that, how would it
So your
self-replicate?
hypothetical made-up protein thing that's never been seen or made.
How would it self-replicate?
So what?
I don't know if there are conditions in which they might be able to unzip and piece together its complement and unzip and piece together its complement, each strand piecing together its complement. I don't know if there's a mechanism, if there's an environment in which that could occur spontaneously. That might be the case. I really don't know.
Two of them, right? Not only is it improbable for one of them to form, you'd need two of them. And then second of all,
why would you need two of them to form?
Well, you need if you're going to go with the ribozyme, which is what you're going with, then you would need the ribozyme to actually replicate something, and it can't replicate itself because it's double-stranded to be a ribozyme.
Right. So if you take a double-stranded nucleic acid and unzip it,
then what's it going to do?
Then both sides can self-replicate its complement.
It wouldn't be functioning as a ribozyme at that point.
I don't know what to tell you. If you have two strands of one nucleic acid, and those strands separate, then free nucleic acids can fill in the complementary pieces, and I mean that's how.
That's not a ribozyme though. That's how.
What do you call it? Polymerase chain reactions work that way.
Yeah,
it's a way we can amplify genetic material.
I know exactly what you mean, but even if you had that ribosome come together, they use something like UV light as the energy source, but if it was continued to be exposed to UV light, it would be disintegrated. And then
it was my understanding that deep sea vents was the likely place where life originated.
Have you read the papers on them? No, deep sea vents are way too harsh for RNA. It's way more unstable in DNA, and it can't function like that. And then also RNA replication needs a much lower pH than proteins, which would need the deep sea vents.
Also, these theoretical single-stranded RNAs you can make them for the complementary nucleotides are extremely beyond.
If you have that single-stranded RNA, that would be extremely unstable in prebiotic Earth.
Yo, Will, Patrick, are you trying to chime in? Your mic's a little low, bro.
No, I didn't even realize that it was not muted. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha. You might have been echoing then.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for anybody who has to debate on the side of abiogenesis because it's like totally and utter nonsense.
You know what I remember from your thing is that there's a compatibility paradox. You need all these different, like, concurrent, separate set of circumstances for the separate components to also self-create and co-create each other because they're also codependent, right? So how could something arise from nothing, spontaneously from nothing, that also needed its compartment, its partner to do so in a way, while also doing so in temperatures from like what, 55 to 85 Celsius for DNA synthesis, and then RNA was greater than 100 degrees. So it needs it needs simultaneously to be hot and cold, and then aqueous and dry. So it needs to be wet and dry. It needs to be top and bottom. All of that needs to have happened for it to create itself and then come about naturally. And I think that's silly.
Yeah, it's like if you were to have like a motor or an engine with nothing hooked up to it on its own, that's great and all, but nothing. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to go anywhere. A motor with nothing else goes nowhere. You need all these things to be simultaneously created. Even with the ribozyme, where is it going to store its information? How is it going to continue to get energy? Is it going to be left open in the elements? You would need some sort of cell membrane. Would that cell membrane be permeable to allow nutrients and new nucleotides to come in? And then if it was permeable, how would it not disintegrate? And how would you be in the same pH needed for proteins in order for it all to come together? And then how are we ever going to get the translation between the RNA to the proteins? And then how does the tRNA come about if you don't have any direction for it? There's so many problems. Like, honestly, I feel bad for anybody who has to argue inside abiogenesis.
Well, we killed that. So there you go, everyone. God made you. You're a creator. Sorry, everyone. No one came from monkeys. Anyway, shape of the earth.
I mean, if we did come from monkeys, where are all the missing links?
Yeah, there's dozens to hundreds of them.
I mean,
bro, he was drowning, and you just gave him like 2 canoes.
there are dozens to hundreds of quote unquote missing links. But every time we find a missing link, creationists just say, "Oh, look, there's a missing link there to the left of it, and there's a missing link there to the right of it."
What does that?
No matter
what
what
does
you
that
find,
mean?
every time you find a missing link, there are 2 more gaps. So.
Well,
I don't know.
From nothing, as we just went through unrefuted, right?
Have you personally found those missing links, or are you just trusting based off of what people have told you?
Oh, am I personally an archaeologist? No.
Okay.
Which while he's trying to fucking debate.
Can you tell me about if you want to talk about evolution, like what happened like with the Cambrian explosion? Because we see these explosions of life whenever we look down the fossil record. But there's nothing leading up to them. Like, we don't see anything with like 1 vertebrae, 2 vertebrae. We just see like full 12 vertebrae organisms in their form. Now there are creatures that were not here in our present Earth that I believe are wiped out. I'm just wondering, like, because it seems like we have like the Cambrian explosion and other explosions of life, but what was leading up to them?
What's your question about the Cambrian explosion? Like, what is your question?
It seems like in the explosions of life that we see in the quote fossil record, like we have these explosions of life, but where is the records leading up to that? Where is something with 2 vertebrae, then 3, then 4, then 5, and then the full organism?
Vertebrates were not around during the Cambrian explosion.
I'm saying
that is completely fucking false.
I said Cambrian.
You are the Cambrian explosion and vertebrates are like two very different time periods. So like you're just ass backwards.
It's like there's these the little, like, it looks like a horseshoe crab. It has like 13 segments. She means segments, like it has between its articulations of its shell. There's no ancestor to it. There's none with 12 or 11. The Cambrian explosion had like 13 or 14 different phyla. I don't know if you know what a phyla is, but it has completely different body plans that are unrecognizable from one another. They are not ancestors. They're not relatives. These are explosions of new life forms that have no ancestors to be found. And this is from the greatest archaeological digs that have ever been done around the world. Okay? So it's not like a lapse of information. It's like, oh, we're looking for the connection. No, listen, if you walk the same beach for 100 years, you're going to find what percentage of the shells that wash up on the beach. Okay, that's the point here. We've been digging and digging and digging for thousands of years. Okay, so let's continue.
Yeah, segments. My bad. I was wrong about that. I meant to say that. I was thinking about the horseshoe crab in particular. I'm not very familiar with those types of species. I don't even know what species that is, to be honest.
Trilobite, right? Is what you're thinking of.
Oh, troglodyte? You're exactly right. That's very, yeah, you're right. And I've heard about this stuff before, but I don't really research as much as Abiogenesis.
Is the trilobite supposedly 550 million years old?
Probably older. I don't know. Better timeline.
God, it's so weird.
That's crazy. Anyway.
It's funny how all the beetle-shaped things from 550 million years ago are the same shape as they are today.
Dude, we got Mr. McGregor and Will Patrick. What's up, guys? Oh, also Joe's here. What's up, Joe Hanby?
I got a message from Snot that said,
If they're even 500 million years old.
I got a message saying, you don't address the points when we're right, but if I ever misspeak, you like freak out, you know? Like I would like to.
Yeah. That's what they always do, Taylor. God forbid you misspell something while you're streaming once, or they'll put that video up forever.
Okay, all right. When you talk about the Cambrian explosion and vertebrates, like that is like holy shit. Like okay, you misspoke. That's fine. But like holy shit, that is 100%. Like
Right. So
180
basically,
degrees.
what I meant to say was, there's nothing like leading up to them, leading up to these species that we've seen
Oh, sure there is.
in these explosions.
Sure there is.
Yeah. Where's the horseshoe crab with like 3 segments though?
Why? So, for one, the fossil record, we don't have. There are only like 2 fossil beds that cover that time period. There are only like 2 fossil beds in the world. So we don't have a very detailed record.
What's sad is that you think
We have 2 fossil beds in the whole fucking world that cover the Cambrian.
Okay, which ones?
I don't remember. There's one in China and one somewhere else.
Okay, and how extensive are those records?
Like I just said, we don't have a very extensive record of the Cambrian. We don't have it. There are, like, I don't, how is it that I say, like, a very clear thing? I say a very clear thing, and then you're interrogating me on, like, asking me for more, when I've stated very clearly, there's 2 places where we have fossils from the Cambrian. So we do not have a whole lot of record.
Look, I certainly.
What more do you want to know?
Okay, look, listen. I certainly don't want to be like interrogating you. All I'm saying is that if you have these hidden rock, fossil records, you'll get a Nobel Prize, man. These fossil records that we have are extremely extensive. Like I said, imagine walking the beaches for 100 years collecting seashells. You're going to get,
The same ones. Right?
what percentage of the shells? 100% almost. What I'm saying is there is like hundreds of or thousands or more of missing connections. These are completely different phyla. Like I'm saying, these things they're like saying, I mean, you can't, it's hard to even imagine. It's like saying you and an insect are cousins. That's ridiculous.
There's nothing between.
I don't know.
Nothing leading up to it.
There's no simpler organism. The thing's just running around doing its thing,
Like, I think I get
Like if you think that like some future dig, and of course we're going to find new stuff, we keep digging and find new stuff, but you think that there's this big missing link that's just going to make all this stuff make sense. No, the truth is that the deeper you dig, the more mysterious life reveals itself to be, the more complex it reveals itself to be, and the more like great God truly becomes revealed.
Because in these ancient records, like very deep, aren't they finding like these full species and full
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like they dig in very deep and they just keep getting these organisms as they are.
The China
like, where's the,
Yeah. So the China dig, like you're thinking, that revealed amazing fossil records. All it really did was solidify creationism.
Yeah.
I read that the trilobite eye is one of the most complex in all of of all animals. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, if you think about the complexity of the eyeball itself, it has too many connections and has too many. It's too complex for it not to be created. You know, it's like it's faster. It has a faster focus plane than any lens that we've ever created with modern technology. You can actually make your vision go unfocused. I mean, if I look at 3 feet in front of me and I look 100 yards away from me, it's an instant focus. There's not a camera in this world that can do that. I mean, that's just too complex for it to be from chaos. I mean, that's just, and then we're just talking about the eyeball. We're not even talking about any other systems, central nervous system, endocrine system, anything like that. So it's like, you got to just use your critical thinking skills and like try to wrap your head around the complexity of life itself, and just from mere observation, know that like I am in a system that has been created. I mean, so that's why I'm a flat earther. I'm like, there's just no way that this much order can come from that much chaos. Like if I go out there and if Russia drops a nuclear bomb, like there's nothing going to be living after that. There's nothing going to come from that for millennia, like thousands and thousands of years. Like it's going to be void of life for a very, very, very long time. And it probably won't. And if life does come from that ever again, it won't be anything near organized as what we are right now.
Yeah, if you know any of your buddies, Prol, that would be willing to debate on abiogenesis, like, man, I'm really just looking for some answers.
So abiogenesis is like not my strong suit. I recognize it as a possibility, but I can't prove it to somebody who is insisting that I can't prove it to a skeptic. I can't debate abiogenesis all that strongly. There's this guy who does Evolution Lives. His name is It Was Friday. It_was_Friday. And he does evolution, and we've talked a little bit about abiogenesis, but he doesn't know a whole lot more than I do about it.
Well,
You can invite him.
But is he one of those people that just sits there and mutes you and just goes on these long rants and never lets you respond to anything? Because that would be really lame.
well, what do you think you know about Prol? What's your strong Earth defense?
Well, I mean, strong Earth defense?
Yeah, strong shape of the Earth defense. Like, what's your go-to?
The sun sets on the horizon, and then it goes dark. And somewhere else in the world, it's noon.
Oh my gosh.
Is that really your best defense?
That's
So if I'm looking at the sun, I'm standing on the 45th parallel, I look up at the sun on the equinox, and it's at 45 degrees at noon. It is the GP of the sun is 3,100 miles away from me. 12 hours later, the GP of the sun is 12,300 miles away from me. So the GP is 12,300 miles to the north of me. And instead of being 45 degrees off the horizon, if the Earth were flat and it were 12,000 miles away, it would be about 14 degrees off the horizon at midnight. That's where the sun would be if the Earth were flat.
I mean, if a plane flies overhead at the same altitude, it's going to be at a 45 degree in perspective to you at some point, but it's going to be directly above somebody else.
Oh, sorry, the same altitude as the sun?
No, I'm saying that if a plane is flying at an altitude of 30,000 feet and is maintaining that altitude, if it's directly above you, so you look straight up and you see a plane, to somebody else, 10 miles down the road, it's going to be at a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
So okay, so imagine the sun is at the same altitude, traveling like a plane. It's going to be at a 45-degree angle to somebody, and if it's directly above you, it's going to be directly above you. I mean, it's the same. It's just a perspective thing at that point. It's not even...
Okay, so let's go through this again. At noon, the GP is 3,100 miles away from me, and the sun is at 45 degrees. At midnight, the GP of the sun is 12,300 miles away from me, but yet I can't see the sun anywhere, even though if it stays at the same height over a flat Earth, it should be at 14 degrees. That's the geometry. That's simple trigonometry.
Yeah, I don't know what scenario you're painting, but if you had a picture or depiction, that would be helpful. But I mean, I think that
you want me to draw this out? Okay, I'll draw this out.
Yeah, so your main argument then is that the sun goes away and appears to set and then takes its light with it. And then you're doing, so like when you're saying the GP is 12,000 miles, I'm assuming you're saying, hey, it's on the other side of the Earth, right? And oh, look, it's still dark. That's your argument, essentially.
It doesn't matter that it's dark, it's that you can't even see it in the sky, which you would.
Look, if the sun is 93 million miles away, according to NASA, then why do we have different color gradients as the sun sets?
Rayleigh scattering. That's just Rayleigh scattering in the atmosphere.
Well, no.
That's why the sky is blue. That's why the sky is blue. The sunset is red because the blue light has been scattered out. So somebody else's blue sky robbed the blue light out of our red sunset.
Well, when we're talking about, first of all, the distance to the sun is just an estimation based on a guesstimate diameter and a distance, right? Based on the angular size of 0.53 degrees. So taking that.
No, it's not a guesstimate based on the angular size.
No, it is. It totally is.
No, it isn't.
Because the formula is D equals D over, let's see, 2 tangent times, I think, let's see here. Let me get the basic one. Yeah, D equals D over 2 tan times the angle over 2. So you just really you figure out all the basic guesses over time and you go back through them, and all they ever change is the supposed diameter and the distance. So what also works as a tuple for, 864,000 miles wide and 93 million miles across is 0.53 degrees. But that's also true for a sun that's 32 miles across and 3,500 miles high. There's an infinite number of tuples that would satisfy that. But then if you go through the famous guesses, it's the funniest part. They're like, oh, we knew that we were getting closer, like Copernicus, Tycho Brahe, Kepler, Newton, Martin, Encke, like they all made guesses. All they did was use this formula and then change the distance and the diameter and keep the only thing that we can verify and see from Earth, which is the apparent solar diameter of the disk of the sun, right? Which is 0.53 degrees. And they took that and they used the formula to just guesstimate other tuples until they got a covariant scaling factor that worked with all the other distances, right? And then from that measurement, they actually got the AU, because what they did was they used parallax angles, they did some judgments, they used Kepler's third law, they used the periodicity based on the observation, and then they used that as a ratio, and then finally, behold, they used Earth's radius again to determine the astronomical unit.
And does any of that work on a flat Earth?
All of it does, because
bullshit.
All the only part that's real is the sun appears to be 0.53 degrees. The rest of it's math. And I just did all the math, right? So how can you say that the math that I just did proved the Earth is that like the sun is that far away? It's based on its apparent angular disk size, and that's just the math formula that works, right? So
yeah. So they there are a couple different ways to figure out the distance to the sun. One of them involves the angle to Venus during Venus's half phase. I don't know too much about how that works, but it's not just, oh, here's the angular size, let's just plug in whatever numbers, make it work at whatever distance to whatever size. No, there are other methods that have given us, more and more precise.
You just don't know how it works.
Well, that's not what I said. I gave the method, right? It's the parallax method where they guessed at the distance of Venus. They guessed that it was the same size. They used Kepler's third law, which is literally a periodicity in an observation. So it's a constant and a periodicity. Okay. And then they used that finally with the Earth's radius to get I went through all that math. That was the other component, right? That's the only known way they say to confirm the distance to the sun, which again is based on an observed apparent diameter and a claimed parallax angle of definite minuteness. So, I mean,
okay. So how does the sun, where it should be? Oh, sorry, I was going to draw this out. You give me a minute. I'll draw this out.
How do you explain the speed it moves through the sky? So if you were taking a picture of an airplane flying over every 2 minutes, say, the farther away it got, the closer that would seem to be together, the shorter distance it would seem to move, right? But when you do that with the sun, it moves exactly the same distance every 5 minutes. It continuously moves at the same speed. How do you explain that if it's local?
how does it so how does it not appear to whip by you as it gets to like its zenith and becomes solar noon and then go slow towards the end, like speed up and like accelerate past you? Is that what you're expecting?
Well, like anything that moves away from you, the further away it gets, the slower it moves through the sky, right?
Yeah, we only see it projected at our limit of vision, though. Like we do all the stuff in the sky.
Supposedly moves away from us, it still moves at the same speed all the time.
Right,
15 degrees an hour.
Right, and if it's at an equidistant web from you, instead of having that like relative speed change, you'll just see it, arc differently in your field of view.
But also, that's not true, Alan, right? Because right at the horizon, when you do the sun fade out, it actually hangs and it pauses for an unreal amount of time when actually it should be constant. It's also not evidenced in the shadow set correspondingly, right? As we know, instead of having the quick and the speed and the constant speed that you would expect, it actually hangs and then stops and then fades out as well. So.
Yeah. Okay. So you do get a little bit of slowing down right near the horizon where you get the most refraction. So there is refraction that raises the setting sun slightly. I think it's about 2 degrees against the horizon to a celestial body. That's why celestial navigation generally wants to, you want to be looking at stars that are 15 degrees or higher, because the closer you get to the horizon, the more refraction plays a role. Anyway, so if I'm on the 45th parallel looking up the sun at 45 degrees, that's 3,100 miles. 12 hours later, the sun is here. This we know to be 45 degrees. And if we take whatever height this has to be to make this 45, and plug that number in here and plug that number in, the angle that comes out is 14 degrees. So how is it that when the sun is here, it's on the horizon, and here it's nowhere to be seen?
How are you calculating an angle above the horizon for something that you can't see?
Okay, so I take this distance. So do we accept that I'm 3,100 miles from the equator at the 45th parallel?
So you're just going to calculate an assumed distance and then do the reverse?
So this is a known angle. This is a known distance. We use this known angle and this known distance to find this distance.
Yeah, and then you're going to go in reverse and claim.
So then you plug in that distance here and this known distance and this known distance to find this angle.
Well, then my answer is very simple. It's that you can't. So that's easy. You can't see it.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's 14 degrees off the horizon, but for some reason, 6 hours before it. So where is it? Where the fuck is the sun? Where did it go?
To the other side of the Earth.
Yeah, the other side of the Earth. 3,100 miles above the surface of the Earth, where I should be able to see it at 14 degrees off the northern horizon. This is flat Earth, guys. This is you have to come up for an answer for this.
Well, I mean, I shouldn't have to, attack each of your misunderstandings, but okay, so correctly, what you'd have to do is use a celestial sphere model in your model, right? And then you represent what is in fact a viewable hemispherical coordinate system, which is in spherical coordinates, and you'd represent what is a negative value below your fundamental plane.
My azimuth
is
14.
1 second. Yo, do not talk over him while he's talking, please, Pro.
Right? You have to use spherical coordinates, which of course the difference between spherical and hemispherical is just a negative value of the fundamental plane. So when you can't see it anymore, you represent it with a negative value. So there's not going to be a 14 degree above the horizon corresponding calculation for where it would be. If you're going to do it in your model, right, technically, and then, mathematically, you'd represent it via the celestial sphere model, and then you'd put it at a negative angle below you, which is a mathematical conception based on your hemispherical view, right? So hemispherical and spherical coordinate system math are actually the same. The only difference between them is that fundamental plane value. So the only thing we're doing is using a known circumference value of the sun, and we're assuming that the circumference is across the Earth. We're saying that it's away from you. You're saying it's beneath your feet. We're both saying it's traveling the same distance.
Oh, okay, but where the fuck is the sun?
Well, right. That's why I said at the beginning, your argument is that it's dark and you can't see it, right? That's what I tried to sum up as your position.
Right. And that makes sense if Earth is a globe.
Well, then the reason for going through negative coordinates and all that math was mute, because you're just saying, oh, when I can't see the sun, I should be able to see it because it has a luminosity corresponding with an 863 diameter sphere at that distance, right? So you're saying if it's across the Earth, how come I can't see it? It should be blazing up the sky. Right? Is that your argument and position?
Okay, so if I'm here, it's nighttime. If I'm here, it's daytime. 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 There's no place I can be on here that's not lit up by the light.
How far away are you assuming the sun to be in this model?
On a globe, there is a place to be away from the sun, and the sun reaches the horizon. When you're right here, you see the sun on the horizon. How does the sun ever reach the horizon? If the sun is up here,
Flat Earthers.
where on this can you be to see the sun on the horizon if the sun is always above it?
Have you ever looked at?
All right, 1 second. I want you to look carefully here. We're looking at high altitude footage of the sun above the horizon, and we're going to see darkness without Earth curvature causing the obstruction of it. Earlier, you were talking about the reasons for the changes in the colors of the sky at night. As it gets towards dawn. And, you were saying that was really scattering based off of the angle that the light's hitting the old ball or whatever as it rotates away. Our position would be that daylight is caused by the ionization of the sun's magnetic field. So what we're about to look and as the sun moves away, it takes that field with it, so which corresponds to that ground position that you keep referring to. But keep in mind, we all see the sun apparent in our own dome of vision. In both models, it's always apparent to all of us. All we see is that angular size, that 0.5 degrees, which Shane was talking about earlier, corresponding to how the so-called distances was derived to it. But check this out. Here we go. We're gonna look at this footage here. Hold on. We're looking at this footage here.
Both models are using an apparent
always
observation from I don't remember the turn of phrase you used, but you said it's true in both models that you're using your what did you say? Your personal vision or your
your dome of vision. Yep, we'll come back to that in 1 second.
So not both models. On a globe, you don't need a a personal dome of vision to make things make sense. It just is what it is.
Yeah, we will absolutely
the
come back to
celestial
that.
objects are where they appear to be, because that's where you look at them. That's where they are. In flat Earth, you have to pretend that they're somewhere, that they look like they're somewhere else, but they're actually over there. Like,
no, well, we can certainly come back to that, but first let's stick to the first claim that you were saying, how, you know, nighttime is specifically caused by the sun being obscured by the physical Earth curvature. But here we're looking at nighttime with the sun is above the horizon.
A much different understanding of what is causing that darkness in the east, and subsequently nighttime. And it's not the Earth's shadow. This darkness is caused by the moving sun getting further away from the observer. I suggest everyone watch Dan Dimension's video regarding sunlight. I will have a link in the description. Flat earthers like me generally believe daylight is the ionization of atmospheric gases, which changes from the homosphere to the heterosphere, causing different colors to appear, including the belt of Venus. As you can see in this high altitude footage, there's the darkness you see below.
Yeah, so anyway, there's day and night being caused by, you know, attenuation, the sun's magnetic field exciting noble gases, etc., right? So we could kind of step away from the claim that day and night would be mutually exclusive to ball curve. Like, do you accept that premise or no?
okay, honestly, I don't know what I'm supposed to see here. I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only see like 6 or 7 different gradient. I don't even see anything. I see 6 or different colors of
including.
Right. Well, the primary takeaway here is that this is Venus fading into nighttime, but the sun's still above the horizon. So
what's
this
wrong
is
with your computer? Or is that like just what the video is?
Oh yeah.
What is that?
It's an effect from the video from when it turns at a certain angle to and away from the sun there. It does it going in and then coming away. Not sure what caused it, but it's some video effect.
So what am I supposed to see here?
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is the sun above the horizon, and you're seeing the gradient into nighttime, which you're saying is specifically caused by Earth curvature, where the sun would have to be below the horizon, but this isn't the case.
It looks to me like it's high altitude, so the ground under you would be in the shadow, but you would still see the sun. It makes perfect sense on the globe. You can watch light move up a building as sun sets if it's a tall enough building. You can watch it move right up.
Why isn't there like a hard shadow line?
Well,
If
that's
it was like from
that's the other part with the globe being the cause of the shadow. For shadow sets continued, we would have mountains that cast shadows upwards, and then when you go on top of the mountain, you would still see the shadow being cast upwards. When you go on top, you don't, and then that hard shadow that she was just talking about is never present either, and that was simulated by a civil engineer on Mount Rainier specifically to show what the situation would be with this upward shadow that was cast here. So there is no corresponding east to west or west to east shadow for sunrise and sunset, vice versa, which would have to be in addition to this shadow that's being cast here. The sun is always above the horizon. It's never below it. There's no ground shadows either that correspond.
Hang on. How does the sun being above the Earth make the shadow go from Rainier on up to the clouds?
Oh, it's just a matter of perspective. When you go on top, you see it being cast off into the horizon at any location where this occurs.
No, it's not a matter of perspective. The clouds above. The clouds above Mount Rainier are in Mount Rainier's shadow. That's not a matter of perspective.
Well, if you go to my pinned tweet, you'll see that someone represented it in the garage with cardboard and a flashlight, and that's pretty addressed. So,
Well, I guess we got to listen to the guy with cardboard in his garage.
well, it replicates the exact effect, right, on a flat plane with a local light source with a shadow reflecting upwards. So the whole argument is silly. Not to mention, if you go to the top of that mountain and do a time lapse, the actual sun never supersedes the height of the mountain, and you'll see the shadow extending only to the horizon, not above it. So it is, in fact, a matter of perspective.
Space, is there a way that I can send you a video through TikTok that's in my like photo album that you can broadcast on your big screen?
I think you gotta post it, or I don't know, message it maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Like I went to your page and it's not.
Oh, I have my mic muted. Yeah, send it to me on TikTok, and I should be able to put it up. Yo, is that my boy Gene Techman in the chat? I was just watching an old Flat Earth Friday episode, and I seen you were on the panel.
Did you hear me, Space?
Yeah, what's up?
That it's not allowing me to send an attachment from my photo albums on my phone to your TikTok direct message.
Ooh, yeah, that's probably not going to work. You'd have to add me on Discord for that.
Hold on just a second. Let me go to my Discord. What is it? Space_audits on Discord as well?
All one word.
Space audits. Okay, gotcha. Hold on, give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Where's your mic?
Yo, is that Mr. Xavier on TikTok?
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
What's up, homie? Is my mic working?
Yes, sir.
Hey, welcome, bro.
All right, all right. I was here.
Oh, we lost all our Glovers.
I jumped in. I saw Taylor handling herself well with some new age atheists, and the philosophical arguments they were having was so meta. It out meta itself. I don't know how Taylor did it, but it was you know when you philosophize yourself to not making sense at all. That's what it was. I couldn't.
And with the help of Galatrax, they dropped me down, and then I was like, "What are they talking about here?" Like, I'm like, "Wait." So, like, are y'all not gonna let anybody else present their arguments? Because, like, the title was like, "Come present your arguments for God." Like, don't disprove them. But I'm like, wait, so you're not gonna allow any other arguments to be presented? They're like, nope, we've already disproven them by our philosophy.
Insane.
Like, what? And then that's like, yeah, their theory is like infallible. Like, so nobody can even present an argument. So then I guess the question would be, why are they even up there asking people to come? If there is no argument that can be presented for God because they've already destroyed it on their philosophical basis, then why ask people to come present their argument for God?
It's a good question.
Never got an answer to that one.
Yo, did you guys see? I did like, I follow the space thing on Twitter, and they post like pictures all the time that I like to make fun of. Right? I think today they were like, look at this beautiful sunset from Mars, and they posted a sunset picture, and I was like, ooh, using the angular size formula and the known distance from the star, shouldn't it be 40% smaller from Mars? Literally, shouldn't be 0.3 degrees. How come it looks exactly the same as Earth? I love when they just like show stuff. They're like, look at this is the clearest picture of a sunset from Mars that nobody's ever seen. And you're like, oh, it's Earth again, guys. It's always Earth. And I'll prove it.
Oh, did they do the
That's
classic
cool.
fake out bait and switch?
Well, yeah, dude. How are they going to get a picture of a sunset from Mars? Except they made it look exactly the same size as from Earth. And of course, it would be much smaller because Mars is much further, right? 40%.
Oh, unlucky, dude.
So
They
it
used
looks
this.
like it's 0.53 degrees, homie. We're so used to seeing it that they forgot.
Classic.
Yeah, but they do stuff like that all the time. That's why I like to follow that account. Right? They're like the first humans to ever see a moonrise from Saturn or whatever, and you're like, oh look, the moon. Or they're like, oh look at this ice. Look at this ice glacier on Juno, and I'm like, oh look, ice on Earth with a black and white filter. Like,
Can you believe people in abiogenesis research are invoking Saturn's moons too? We've come that far.
well, Taylor, they were invoking comets, ridiculous circumstances, damn near magic before. So yeah, of course, the long list of things they would invoke.
Oh my gosh. Never saw that coming, to be honest.
Well, all right, I kind of did, right? As a non practitioner of the Copernican principle, where people are philosophized by science that have to pretend that Earth isn't at the center. Therefore, humans don't occupy a special place in the galaxy. Therefore, the rest of our science has to fundamentally follow this premise. Then they have to make up things like abiogenesis to pretend that absolutely we weren't created by God. And obviously we weren't put here and the Earth isn't flat. So they have to build, thousands and billions of years between, where now and how Earth formed and the Big Bang and how everything materialized out of nothing. And then within that billions of years, abiogenesis occurred with ridiculous opposing opposite circumstances, which things that co-created each other all at the same time, haphazardly, like a cyclone through a junkyard, to actually give rise over billions of tiny adaptations that we can't actually quantify, that no one's ever seen, to ultimately lead to us. Like,
Dude,
yeah,
I feel
that's
like
crazy.
I feel like that's why I like that point so much, because it is like indisputable proof that we were designed just based on the evidence alone.
Yeah.
It could not have happened by accident.
But the whole point is all of science is tainted by this philosophy of the
Yes.
Copernican principle, right? So it's not just cosmology, it's biology, it's, I think, dude, even cartography, because cosmography used to be it. And well, we can't be the center of the universe, so let's separate maps and the universe and the cosmos, so to speak. So it goes deep. It's through everything. It permeates all of society. It's all based on philosophy that they trick people into thinking is science.
Well, if anybody wants to come watch me present on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Earth Awakenings, and then Alan's going to be streaming it, and possibly Shane too, on their YouTube channels, Space_Audits. And what is yours, Shane? What is your YouTube channel again?
I think it's just Shane St. Pierre.
Shane St. Pierre. I don't even know if you're streaming it, so I'm really putting you on the spot, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, Alan's going to be streaming it for sure. Shane streamed mine last week, so yeah. If anybody wants to come watch it, then please do. Because we're going to be dismantling abiogenesis. And, I'll give you all the points needed.
Nice. I'll definitely come by and stream that again. But did we lose all our Globers? Like, what happened?
Yeah, they've been gone. After the Mount Rainier thing, they just dipped out.
I think we answered that pretty well. And there is that pinned tweet, right?
That was an interesting video you showed, Alan, of like the
I
lighting.
don't know how I got disconnected, but SpaceAudits, I just sent you a request on Discord, but I guess Proles is gone now, so.
Not see the requests, sir. Oh wait, I see it. Will Smith. I see it.
What was it? What are you trying to show us?
It's going to show us that new stuff.
I found some more papers today. We were talking about the theodolites and refraction today in Earth Awakenings. And so I was telling them about like how things get shorter throughout the day. And then to add on top of that, I found some more papers about how refraction is much less at night. So this could be a huge reason why, if you find like the shrinking effect during the day, that could be happening. Well, first of all, they've documented that that's happening. But then the question was, okay, things get shorter during the day and they're taller at night, right? So now, why is this happening? Is it because we have more refraction at night moving it up, or is it because we have more refraction during the day bringing it down? Well, they actually compared the refraction conditions by like some laser test, like from the day and the nighttime. And they basically found that there was much less refraction at night. So they have more viable data at nighttime, and things are taller at nighttime. So just do the math.
With a combination of that and taking measurements at a higher elevation, you get a little bit more accurate results, I would think.
Yep. But they say higher elevation. Now, what do you mean by that? Because if it's like I'm not asking you, I'm just asking in general. Because if there's mountain ranges, there is vertical and horizontal gradients between those mountains. Like mountain ranges have a lot of different gradients and temperature fluctuations around them. So whenever they say, oh, we're higher and we're looking at this mountain shrink, well, you have to consider all the temperature fluctuations around the mountains themselves. Now, at a higher altitude over a level ground, yes, absolutely. But if you're like within these like looking through these like hills and valleys and winds and with the currents going between them, like that's a whole nother story. So yeah.
All right, man. One of them I sent both edited. I shortened the video on one, and the other one is the full edit. But man, they just made me have to jump through all kinds of hoops to send that shit.
Yeah.
Go to the other video, or maybe not. But yeah, that's a pretty great physical experiment.
How are you guys?
And so what is this? What is this proving?
Due to atmospheric lensing and refraction, how the sun can be cast on one side of the world and not cast on the other side of the world.
Didn't you do that on a globe though?
Didn't you do that on a globe though?
That wasn't a globe. That was a flat piece of paper with a semicircle.
Sure. Could you show the video again?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Where did I just download that? Ew.
Looks like a ball to me.
No,
It's
that's
not a ball.
It's a little dome. It's a hemisphere.
Okay, so it's half a ball.
No, it's not a ball.
Come on, bro.
The firmament is a dome.
Work with him, dude. It's half a ball. You gotta give it to him. It is half a ball.
But the sheet of paper that it's sitting on is flat.
What difference does that make?
No, it makes a huge difference, but that's funny as hell.
How are you guys? How's it going? Can you guys hear me?
Yo, what's up?
What up, man?
How are you?
Yeah, I was good. I wanted to show some flat Earth proof. I mean, globe proof. If you guys are behind me.
Absolutely.
All right. You guys think it's flat, right?
Yep. Fairly certain.
Okay. Can I get on the big box? I just have something on my screen. If that would be all right with you guys.
Well, you don't have an avatar or anything like that, so I'm a little apprehensive to do
It better
that.
not be these nuts, dude. I feel like that's what's coming up.
No, man.
Yeah.
It's a computer screen.
Okay.
You guys gave me an idea for the future, though. So, all right. So this is a website. It's called Flight Radar 24. You can see every plane in the world currently. You could click on any one of these flights. And just go here, for example, tells you it's going from Taipei to Amsterdam. You can see what time it left, when it's landing, estimated the atmosphere, how high it is in the atmosphere, the speed, everything. You could do that on any of these. So there are certain, and you can see the route it's taking. Now, there's certain weird things like this, for example. This flight's going from Melbourne to Dubai. All right, and you can click routes, and you can see the route it's going to take. This is flight UAE 675M, 674M. Now, if the world was flat, this is a flat Earth map here. We're going from Australia to Dubai here, right? If the world was flat, why wouldn't you just cut through India here? Why is it taking this like weird round curved route? Why not just go in a straight line? Save some fuel. Again, these are publicly traded companies that are for profit. Why are they wasting fuel?
Can you get a little closer to your mic? It sounds like really muffled.
Yeah.
Are you asking if the distance is different? Are you asking what a geodesic is versus a linear spread out on the Gleason's map? Are you confusing great circles displayed on an azimutally equidistant direction preserving projection? What exactly is the argument?
I'm making the argument that these publicly traded for-profit companies like Delta and Emirates Airlines, they wouldn't be taking longer routes if they could afford not to. They would be saving money and taking the shortest possible route. The shortest possible route on a flat Earth are straight lines, not these curved routes that all these airlines take.
So So it is a misunderstanding of what what a great circle route looks like on the Gleason's map.
No,
Then
it's not, and I can tell you
That question could be easily answered through FAA flight regulations.
no, I'm telling you why it's not a misunderstanding, because none of you guys have a proper scaling or an agreed upon scaling for flat Earth. How big is the Earth? How big is flat Earth? Everyone says something different.
and then followed up with a misunderstanding of distance scaling on the Gleason's, right? So what that is a projection. All projections are projected coordinate systems, right? So the coordinate system that we're projecting in both cases, longitude, latitude, it's a spherical coordinate system based on angles to the stars. So what you're doing is you're drawing a curve, I think, and you're trying to say, why would it not be a curve on the projection, right?
No, not quite. So, for example, you have another flight that happens.
We'll stick to the one point because I'm trying to understand what your actual argument is.
I think if I demonstrate, I give you another example, you'll kind of get my point. There's a flight that goes from Sao Paulo. I've actually taken this one. It's like a 17-hour flight. It goes from Sao Paulo all the way to Sydney. And what you see happen, I don't think there's one going on right now because it just happens once a day, is it goes this way and it goes around, it passes past Antarctica. Now, on a flat Earth, the fastest way to do that would just cut straight through North America, but that flight doesn't do that. The flight doesn't cross over North America. It doesn't go like this. What it does is it goes like this. And I've been on that flight. You can actually see the ice. You can see Antarctica. So it would go like this normally.
Well, no. So
how come we can't see that plane on that map right now?
Well, no. So what you're doing is you're drawing a straight line, like I said, on an azimuthal equidistant direction preserving projection. So what that's doing is preserving directions only from the center extending outward. So when you're drawing a straight line across it like that, you're actually not drawing anything that's real. There's no actual directions there. If they were to maintain an eastward bearing,
Hold on a second. Hold on.
It would have to be a circle. So the corresponding line that you're drawing, when translated properly, would in fact be a circle, right? It would be a circle around the outside.
That's great. Does everybody agree that that is the flat Earth map?
No, this is an azimuthal equidistant projection of a coordinate system.
All those big words are great. Yes or no? Is that your map or not?
No, that's a coordinate system based on the latitude longitude lines.
Can
bro.
one of y'all show me a flat Earth map?
This is a Gleason map, like, by the way.
Yeah, it's you see the latitude longitude lines on it.
Show me your representation. Show me what you think the world looks like.
Right, exactly.
Just bring that up. I'll make the same argument I just said.
Well, hold on. To steelman your argument, it's why don't we make our own map, right, of what we think it looks like? And then the actual answer to that is that it's based on a coordinate system, which is the point you guys
model,
which is the point you guys are refusing to understand. So the coordinate system itself is spherical in nature because it's based off of hemispherical observations of the stars, longitude and latitude, 100%. That's the way it works. So correspondingly, to give you an answer, why wouldn't we create a corresponding projected coordinate system that would be lateral and not spherical? Is because the stars don't appear that way. If everything is based on the stars, then the only thing that we could recreate on a whole world made of mostly not land, right? It's all mostly water. So if you were to navigate based on anything, the only coordinate system that makes sense is to use stellar corrections and based on the stars, which is in fact where we've always been with cosmography, which is why we stick to the same coordinate system. So that's why we have this coordinate system since like 1714, since the king made the decree, once they finalized the longitude observations of the southern stars, dude. So
all of that to say you don't have a map is crazy.
Well, no. The distortions that are shown there just aren't as extreme as we would.
Can one of y'all just show me a map?
Distortions isn't a big word. We're looking at a map that has distortions on it, right? So
there's Alan's and Shane point. I'm just going.
Yeah, go ahead, Wazif.
Well, there's a straw man that's usually done with that. Usually it's around Australia. They'll claim that a flight from Townsville to Melbourne is roughly the same round trip from Perth to Adelaide, and I love the fact that you're interrupting 3 words in. Despite that, the latter being 2.5 times farther. But as Shane talked about, if it's backwards derived from the celestial observations, that's what you would be looking at. As Alan and Shane both pointed out, this is more for a lateral projection as it relates to the center of the map. It's a useful map, but it's not the flat Earth map that is usually straw-manned against us. if the recorded length between Perth and Adelaide is about 2130 kilometers, the distance would be, I forgot what I had saved, but it's only around 60 kilometers difference, not 5175. So that's a straw man that's attributed to us a lot. It's not our map. The AE map is a useful tool, but it's not the flat Earth map.
Cool. Show me the flat Earth map, please.
That's going to be accumulated free exploration. That's going to take a long time. You guys,
I think a bigger straw man.
You guys had
we don't have a model.
You guys had hundreds of years enforced by the societies. And
Well, I mean,
that's
like-
going to take a while.
Well, you say we don't have a model, right? But we have Shane's model, which is literally a model of all celestial phenomenon, sun's azimuth and elevation from every observer all over the Earth using one of these projections. So where's what's your name? Where's whatever your name's model is? And then, like, second of all, you guys are misunderstanding maps, and you're like, so you're trying to wield your misunderstanding as an aggression, right? So when you're trying to draw straight lines across what an eastward bearing would be on an azimutal equidistant projection, that's a misuse of the tool. And then you're trying to use that misuse as a, like, you know, an attack or an insult, or like try to say it doesn't make sense, but it's just based on your first primary misunderstanding, right?
I all I did was ask you to show me a map.
We're all looking at we all share the same coordinate system, brother.
Do you have a map or not?
We have the same one.
What do you mean we have the same one? My map is the globe.
My model.
No,
but
it's
your
a-
globe is a projection of the coordinate system, homie.
I don't know why you're laughing. You cannot
Okay,
produce.
the coordinate
You have
system
no idea.
that you're referencing, one of the projections.
I have not
globe.
referenced a single coordinate system. I simply asked for a model or a map.
When you ask for a map and you're asking for latitudes and longitudes, and you're showing the Gleason's map, that's what you're showing. You're showing a coordinate system. That can be projected.
Put your box in the big box. You have a map right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, show me that one.
There we go. All latitudes, sun elevation angles, like Shane was saying.
Great. Pick any spot on that map.
All right, right there.
Can you do it? Can you do it with a cursor or a finger?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 45, I think, is where I'm at. No.
Now go east. Go all the way east as far as you can. What happened?
Wait, well, how would you process eastward on this map from any point? Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go east as far as you can. What happens?
You go in a circle.
How would you go in a circle if you go in a straight line east? Are you telling me you can't navigate? Hold on.
East and west aren't straight lines.
They're not really. So on your map, it's impossible to go in a straight line. Is what you're telling me?
Nope. I'm saying that when you're doing east and west with respect to the sun, it's concentric circles outwards. East and west go to the equator, dog.
Okay, go
on this coordinate
down.
system that you're referring to. Yeah, hold on one second.
Is down easy enough a direction for you?
Hang on. Where's the? How do you move it left to right?
Do it with a cursor. From that point, go in any direction. Where do you end up?
There you go. Longitude.
You guys are trying so hard to lie.
Nope. 1 second. Have a thing.
No,
Anyway.
listen,
Trying so hard to lie with a $0
Anyway,
budget,
look.
but
It's
with a
going
$63 million budget per day.
going around in a circle. It's just a circle.
Now go all the way south. What happens?
Okay. All the way south.
Thank you.
Circle.
So you're telling me south is in all directions? That's what you're telling me right now?
Did you not know that?
So as an aspect.
So wait a minute.
Bro, you don't know anything about what you're talking about. So what you're looking at is a direction preserving azimuthal equidistant map. How that preserves direction is that it has a projection from the center point. So literally the same directions on the globe would maintain, which means everything away from the center is south. And if you disagree with that, then you're saying the globe is not correct and you don't understand that.
Shane, are you seriously arguing that you can go south at the same time you can go east and west and north? That's what you're telling me?
Well, no, you don't understand what east and west is on this projection. You said straight lines. That's immediately wrong, right? Immediately wrong.
So you can't go in a straight line, correct?
You can certainly you can go. You can maintain an eastward
Look
bearing.
at that. He went south.
If you maintain an eastward bearing, what happens? Do you think you'd maintain a straight bearing on the Gleason's map? Take a look, buddy. Here's what
On
an
a
eastward
globe,
bearing would
on a
mean.
globe, my guy. If
All
you
right,
go
it's
east,
the same
you would
thing.
make you would travel the
thing.
circumference of the
You
globe.
say the globe, it's the same thing as what you're looking at, right? We say it's a
No,
projection.
except
Yes.
on that map, you end up south, no matter where you go.
The only one that you can maintain a straight line is the equator. That's the great circle that you can go in a straight line and end up right where you are. There's a misconception.
Bro, come on.
There's a misconception. You don't
This
understand
is
what
like-
great circles are.
I'm sorry. This must be the
Watch it
dumbest
again.
call.
Look what happens. Look, he goes north. Ready? Oh, now he's going south. Now watch what happens when he goes all the way across. He ends up south, no matter which way he goes. Correct?
Say if he goes in a straight line, that's not going east. You understand that, right?
Look, here he goes again.
You don't understand that.
South again.
Bro,
So
he's going away from north. You
How
were
can
you were
south be in
saying
all
going east
directions?
and west.
Wait, Bluefin, give me a second, please. Bluefin, if you just give me 1 minute. Can I just I got one more piece just to show you guys. If I could get on the big box for another second here. And then I'm really curious about how you guys are going to explain this one. Thank you. All right, this is a photograph. This is on chemical film. Okay, this was taken in the 30s by a man named Captain Albert Stevens. You can look this up. It was well documented, well circulated in newspapers. This is a photograph he took at 73,000 feet of elevation. He went in a hot air balloon. Okay, now it looks very flat. I think we can all agree that. You can see no curvature. Unless you just do something super simple using just a line, and I'm going to zoom in so you guys know I'm not BSing you here. This is a legitimate photo. You can find this in the archives. So I can just draw a straight line here, and I'm going to prove to you that it's a completely straight line. You got to just kind of get the pixels right. Okay, it's perfectly straight. You guys agree? That's a straight line?
Looks straight to me.
Okay, all right. Now, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller just to demonstrate. Do the same exact thing. Just from the top there, the horizon, all the way across. Make sure it's completely straight. One more click. It's hard to get it right. So if you notice, the weird thing is it starts curving down. And you start having some empty space there. Now, why is that happening?
You're using. It also depends on if you read
Why is there
there's
empty
a paper on
space?
basically optics and how photos depends on if the horizon's in the upper or the lower frame. David Lynch's paper, yeah. And that will cause, you can even make it look like it's convex and concave too. If you,
Narrator dialogue. Okay. Narrator heading. Exiting narrator.
okay. Depending on where the horizon is in the frame of view of the photo, it's either going to appear convex or concave or flat, and they've even admitted this in peer review papers.
What?
Did y'all kick him?
No. It should be back.
Oh, sorry. I thought you guys kicked me. So, again, that's not it's a straight line. You can see the horizon curve.
Well, you're looking at straight up.
Your mic's
straight up
coming
barrel.
in. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Your mic's coming in very distorted, fractal.
Okay, so your answer was atmospheric distortion?
No, barrel distortion. Literally, that's what's happening, right?
Okay, so why it's completely consistent?
Well, no, right? It's only near the edges. It's literally barrel distortion that occurs where straight lines and near the edges appear to curve outward,
No,
right?
but if you move, if we have other photos like this.
Well, you brought up one, and you said, "What's the answer?" And I said, "Barrel distortion."
Yes, you're wrong.
High altitude balloon footage, basically, and then you'll see like the horizon moving up and down on the frame, and it becomes looking convex and then concave.
You know we have
you seen that before?
Right?
Wait, hold on. Can you answer my question?
Yeah.
You've seen that happen before, right?
On some videos, sure.
Have you seen the high altitude balloon footage?
I've seen
Without
a few of the videos, yeah.
Yeah, without the fisheye lenses, you'll see that happen.
Oh, okay, but
I can give you a paper on it so you can read about it.
So Taylor,
you understand that, right?
Are planes incapable of flying straight?
What would that be? A loaded question?
Nope. Simple question. Can planes fly straight?
This dude doesn't know what east and west are. I'd be aware to look out.
Bro, you think south is in all directions, okay?
Well, no, not on your globe. It had to be constantly flying downwards, right?
Hello?
Dipping in your globe, it wouldn't be flying straight per se because it always had to be tilted.
He's making a completely
no?
different argument. But anyway, we are gonna wrap up it. We are gonna wrap up in 10 minutes, though, lads. So let's get our final east-west straight line arguments and also
are capable of flying straight, but you have planes flying straight.
Can I get a question?
Oh yeah.
Then why
Oh
doesn't
yes.
it go into outer space?
Hold on 1 second. Absolutely, Lion or Iron Lion. You've been waiting patiently. Please go ahead. You have the floor, sir.
I want to ask a question about Shane's model. On the eclipses tab, you have the sun and moon orbiting toward the east. Just wanted to understand what was going on with that.
What do you mean, bro? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I got it up. I got it up on the.
Like if you,
I got it up on the.
Yeah, scroll down.
Yep.
And you'll see all the tabs and if you press on the tab that says eclipses.
Yep, I got it up.
And it's an interactive display, and it'll just play. It'll start playing, and if you watch it, the sun and moon are orbiting toward the east.
Oh, when it's rewinding them backwards, showing you the path and how it intersects. Yeah, that's a model, dude. That's an emulation to show the little intersection of the two ecliptic planes, right? How they offset, and it's going backwards. It also shows the nodes, and it shows those intersection points, which is like Rahu and Ketu and stuff when they call them in the mythological lore, and that's what that model's literally showing, right? Is that what you were? Was that your question? Was that your question?
No, you said they're going backwards, but the date actually shows that it's progressing forward when you watch the date and even the phases of the moon. Not the one that you can actually just play with it. It's an actual tab. It's an interactive tab. If you tap it,
I see it.
Playing.
I got it. It just started playing.
I see it. Yeah, if you watch it, the sun and moon will start orbiting toward the east. And if you watch the date in the upper right corner and the moon phase in the left corner, it's going in order and synchronous. And I was just wondering what's up with that. Yeah, if you just keep watching it, you'll see it start to process toward the east.
That could be something.
It'll start moving toward the east.
I see it. That could be something in the program.
I see it.
That could be something in the program.
Dude, I don't see it still. It's really hard to see it. What are you seeing, Alan? What happened?
Well, just let it keep playing for about a minute.
Oh, it only plays for like a couple of seconds.
When you press the eclipses, when you press the eclipses tab, just let it play for about a minute and watch the date in the upper right corner, and you'll see the date is going in order. It's all in order.
Dude, I can't see that.
It's much longer than that. It's about 2 minutes long. The interactive display is about 2 minutes long.
Mine only plays for like 5 seconds. I'm doing something wrong.
Well, the answer is that's a pre-programmed animation that's supposed to show a specific thing, right? So that's if in the free-form motion, it always goes the right way. There was a lot of this is a definite preset emulation. It has like six steps, which have to go in sequence, which can play uninterrupted or interrupted, and you can skip between them. But they're meant to show like a specific story. So if anything is wrong in it, then it's probably something wrong in that specific emulation. But was that like a question generally at the model, or were you just confused? Generally, also, who's echoing?
Also,
who's echoing?
Oh, well, that was a question about that portion of the display, because my understanding in that is that in your model the Earth is not rotating. So, in order to display the eclipses without the interactive slider that you can just kind of slide yourself, and the actual data is recording the orbit of the rotation of the Earth toward the east. So when you when you cause the Earth not to rotate, the sun is gonna orbit in the direction that the Earth is, that it would rotate. And also, if you look at what a lunar day is, even along the moon's ecliptic, it orbits towards the east as well. So I don't know if you excuse me, understood that, but I saw that in the model, and I figured I'd just ask if you maybe had an explanation of what was going on, but that was it.
I'm still not quite sure, to be honest, dude. But I don't think the Earth is rotating. I think that the sun and the stars appear to rotate over us. I think that it's definitely called sidereal time, and that it differs from a solar day between 4 minutes. I know that when it comes to eclipse predicting, there's a definite disparity in the time of the sidereal rotation over, because specifically when eclipses repeat, the cycle has to be choreographed to a specific point, and it's always a skewed point by like 60 degrees in the sky. So they have to be specific, and that when they try to do the time, the sidereal time, it's called delta T. And it's a huge problem, especially over long gradations. So when they're doing like 6,000 year cycles, the actual difference in the variation of the sidereal rotation is varying over time, and it causes huge problems. I know all that, but I don't know if any of that's represented in the model as it backtracks for an eclipse demonstration.
Host, can you show that model again with the magnetic fields?
Is there a magnetic field feature on there, Shane?
No, I don't know what he means.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean.
Yeah,
you mean
what is
this?
that?
Oh, that's a
Oh.
picture.
Oh, that's just concept art. So that would be a vortex at the center of the Earth. Then there would be toroidal geometry following that. So that would be.
Oh, if it's nonsense, we don't have to talk about it.
Sure.
I would definitely call it concept art. That's a good term, Alan.
Yeah, just
Same
concept
thing.
art.
Okay, fiction. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a real picture of the globe that's unedited or processed by NASA?
Yeah, on the internet.
Can you post that, please, or like show your screenshot?
Sure, give me a minute to find one.
Hola, Cat. Welcome back.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Nice.
Someone looking for a real picture of a globe?
You made it
That even
immediately less
exists.
awesome, less awkward. Thank you. I mean, we've been looking for one for a while, so this should be fun.
Patiently waiting for the composite images to seamlessly be put together in a curved shape. It's rendering right now as we speak.
Taylor, what do you got coming up this week?
Yeah, I got another presentation this Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be on Abiogenesis on Earth Awakenings. And also, Alan's going to be streaming it on his YouTube channel, Space Audits. And I added a few more stuff, a lot more stuff than I did present on a couple days ago. So it's going to be fun.
Nice. So you're telling me if I go to discord.gg/Earth Awakenings with an S at the end there, and I can click on a little tab for events scheduled for Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern, and I can see your presentation. If I'm a first-time user on Discord, that's how I would go about doing it.
100%.
And if I didn't feel like,
a good Discord user, you would do it.
yeah, and if I didn't feel like going to Discord, I could just go to youtube.com/space_audits and watch it at 10 p.m. Eastern.
100%.
All right, cool.
Bring your reputations.
All right, so Friday we have communities hosted space and or Flat Earth Fridays. We'll see what happens there. And let's see what we got coming up after that. Sunday will be Glowbusters, hosted by Shane and I. And then Tuesday will be a brand new presentation on the physical meaning of mathematics in regards to reference frames and coordinate systems. That's going to be a doozy.
It's Big Daddy of presentation.
Ooh, new Prezi.
It's going to be a big one.
Wait a minute, Alan, are you telling me if I take the frame of a telescope filled with water, I could just ignore the physical the physical consequences of such? If I could just bounce around between reference rays?
Dude, they'll go as far as to say we have to take the stationary reference frame of the telescope filled with water to make the prediction. So they'll fully hit up your boy's stationary prediction to get the angle, and then they'll transform to the sun, completely making it not even about what the original relationship was with it, which was V over C with respect to the incoming starlight.
Right.
Like
Wasn't the starlight coming in perpendicular to the water, I thought? There's a cosine there. So that means there's an angle, the velocity. They can't have a stationary frame. How is that even possible, Alan?
Oh, through the mysticism of Lorentz transformations, and we could just treat it as stationary because our boy Newton gave us calculus.
Nice. Can't wait for that one, bro.
It's gonna be awesome. Blue, what's your name? Blue Fire Knight. What do you got coming up this week, buddy?
Exams.
Nice. Good luck. What are your exams on?
Biochemistry.
Nice. GL.
Oh, maybe you can give me a rebuttal on my Abiogenesis presentation.
I doubt it. Taylor doesn't know East and West again. I'm sorry.
Well, hold on.
Where's that good picture?
Different field of study.
You can message it to me.
Yeah, Taylor's looking for a debate opponent if you're interested in defending abiogenesis or whatever chemistry stuff you're interested in.
I mean, sure, I guess. I don't really have the time, but I mean, I could try.
Oh, no worries, man, if you're busy. All right, 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, well, good luck on the exams, bro. Xavier, what do you got coming up? I heard you got an app in development, bro.
Dog. that may or may not be true. But yes, I found that there's a lot of times that when we're going back and forth into passionate subjects, that there's a common denominator of interruptions, talking past each other. And I thought to myself, what if there was a format that would kind of allow you to stick to a format where you have to address the other person's claims, and you'd be free to not be interrupted while you do so. So there may be something like that coming in the works soon.
Nice, dude. Looking forward to it. And there we have it to close us off. We've got our picture of globularity from courtesy of the lads on the ISS. Special salute to the boys in blue. All right, later, gentlemen. See you guys tomorrow.
That was the astronauts that took that photo.
Bring up the boys on the YouTube chat. Shout out to the lads and ladettes hanging in there. I think he was showing a picture of the ISS, if that's what you were asking, Nominal. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully there will be a Flat Earth Fridays, but if not, we will join the old community space